Hey everybody, welcome to the Football Podcast, brought to you by your old friends at Monday Madness. This is your host Jonathan, and I have two special guests to tell you about. Let me tell you all about them, they're lovely. First of all, Neil, who is definitely in the room with me right now.
Woo!
And Rachel, who is absolutely definitely in the room with me right now.
Hello!
Yes.
And is not currently cycling.
Definitely not cycling. Trust us on this one. There's a whole story.
Here is definitely not pedals that need oiling.
No, it's just your squeaky knee. That's all it is.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, regardless of if we're cycling or not, we're here to talk about Euro 2016. As of this recording, we are 3 days removed from the tournament. It's now over, at last, because it was a full fucking month. And we have a lot to talk about. In case you missed the tournament, spoilers, by the way. If you don't want to know the results, look away now. But after it all, after about, as you said, about a month football, Portugal were the winners of the tournament and are now officially the best team in Europe. How did they get there? My thoughts exactly. My thoughts exactly, Neil. How did they get there? Well, they beat France in the final, which has caused a lot of turmoil in of itself. But Portugal kind of slinked their way through the tournament in a way. And the group stages, they drew all their games against Austria, Iceland, and Hungary. Most famously, a 3-3 draw with Hungary, which Ronaldo started with 2 goals. Once again, they drew again in the round of 16 against Switzerland, only beating them on penalties. And then they beat their quarter-final opponents, Poland, on penalties as well. In fact, the only game they actually won properly before the final was in the semi-final against Wales. They won 2-0. And then, of course, we all know they were successful in the final against France. And, of course, France got there in a little bit more freestyle fashion, as it were. They got through the group stages fairly handily because when you're in a group with Romania and Albania, if you don't get out of it, there's something fundamentally wrong with you. Then they beat the Republic of Ireland 2-1 to get through. They smashed Iceland 5-2, and then possibly most impressive of all, they beat Germany comprehensively by 2-0, and thus they got to the final, but ultimately came up short. So that's overall what happened for our finalists in the tournament. Gentlemen, lady, how was the final for you? How was the tournament overall for you?
Well, the final was surely one of the worst of all time.
I think we can all agree on that, yeah.
I mean, all throughout this... I mean, don't get me wrong. With the exception of that ludicrous 3-3 draw with Hungary. It was 3-3, wasn't it? It was
3-3, yeah.
Game.
Yeah.
They were actually quite well drilled and pretty well organised. But fucking hell, like...
Yeah.
They were about as enjoyable to watch as that arm-slicing scene out of that movie 127 Hours.
Fucking hell, that's a reference.
And,
you put that in the vault.
Enough, with Pepe in the team, they weren't even actually likeable.
Is that a point in their favour?
Pepe it can be likeable because...
No, I can't. I hate that. I hate that guy. I hate him. I absolutely hate him. Don't get me wrong, he put on a defensive masterclass in the final, but I just can't. He's such a disgusting, despicable person that it just overrides any sense I have of him as a good footballer. I want him to die.
Let us know how you really feel, Neil.
Yeah.
Well, my therapist has been telling me not to hold back. You know?
He's doing a fine. He's doing a fine job, might I add.
No, but seriously, it was truly awful.
Yeah.
But, I actually didn't watch the final live. I was abroad and I had it recorded.
Yeah.
And I walked around Edinburgh avoiding every crowded with my eyes and ears covered. I scattered any time I walked past a building that could possibly have the match played, which was all of them.
Yeah.
And then I was really excited to sit down when I finally got in at about 12 o'clock at night, and I'm like, I'm going to watch the final now, and I nearly fell asleep. The only thing that kept me awake was the fact that, there were so many moths.
Yeah.
We played drinking games. Any time the moth was the focus on the camera, we'd have to take a drink.
Jesus Christ, back out the funnels for that one.
Yeah, so that was probably the highlight of my final, was the moths. and then the following, I went online after the match. I allowed myself online because I, was now willing to see spoilers, and it was just Mott's men. That's probably my favorite thing, or memes. Like my favorite thing of the tournament were like all the various photoshops of Ronaldo being attacked by Mott's. So
I quite like the scene from The Simpsons. Kent Brockman.
Fuck you.
Insect overlords.
I was about to make that joke, you prick.
I like the Pokemon Go one, surprisingly enough.
Oh.
Where someone has just like put a Venomoth on Instagram.
Oh yeah. No, I think in footballing terms, it was horrendous to watch. It really was. I mean, France.
Can I just say that I've never, ever, 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 ever liked Ronaldo.
Don't think many people do, to be fair. Even though he's like the most liked person in Facebook, but that's a different story.
But when I saw the knee injury, me myself having gotten a knee injury,
yes,
I did feel such an unwelcome pity and empathy towards him. Room.
I think it was the first time in recorded history that pathos was felt for Ronaldo. It really was though. Like everyone was just going, "Oh, but like this was his moment to get like something for Portugal, and it's all ruined, and it's all toilets."
It was just because of I've been through a horrendous knee injury. So it was like I just imagined myself in that position, and I was like, I don't care about Ronaldo. That knee injury looked sore.
It should have been me. Yeah, it was actually. It looked nastier than it seemed. Like on the reverse angle, like you could see the knee was jarred at the position, and because like initially it was Ronaldo, I was just like, he's taking the piss. Like just move on.
Yeah.
And the referee was the same way. He's just like, get up.
But that's like the kind of case of the boy who cried wolf. Like
it is.
And he moans and he twists and he turns on the ground so many times for like the wind. And then when he actually was injured, everyone was like, get up, you puff.
Yeah, definitely. But ultimately, and it was funny as well because like Ronaldo seemed to have more of an effect on the touchline as the actual manager of Portugal, which is a side I never thought I'd see from Ronaldo, an actual like man manager and motivating coach. Because obviously, the perception of Ronaldo is that he's a very selfish person and always looks out for himself. But let's be fair, we saw an opposite side of Ronaldo, which I never thought I'd see.
Not really, because week in, week out, we see him for Real Madrid actively grimacing with disdain when his teammates score and not him.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like the whole like narrative has been that Ronaldo is like out for himself, and then this like completely shifted everything. Like this is like.
Well, no, I think that was a case of if I do this, I'll be on camera more.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, it could have been that as well.
And of course, he had to take his top off at the end. He had to take.
He's contractually obliged to. Yeah.
Oh, it's ridiculous.
Yeah. But let's talk about France then. I mean, France seemed to have such an easy way to get to the final. The final was like paved in gold for them. They had such an easy group. They got a very favourable draw against us and Iceland. The only real test they had was Germany, and I think Germany just kind of ran out of steam at that point. They really kind of blew their load against Italy and Spain and all, or sorry, Slovakia, beg your pardon. What went wrong with France, do you think, on the night and overall?
Moths.
Yeah, pretty much.
I just think the pressure got to them. Like, they're a squad that have various experiences between them, but not together as a squad.
Yeah.
Whereas I think Portugal have been that unit for, longer. And
much longer, yeah.
Yeah, being competitive more in that unit.
Yeah, well, when you consider that the last major tournament France was at, they had a fucking meltdown.
That's true, yeah. They've always seemed to have some sort of, like, scandal mutiny, exactly.
Which they started early this year with a Benzema blackmailing his own fucking teammates.
They got it out of their system before the tournament. I think that's what it was. Like, let's have ours early, and like move on with our lives. Then, do you think Didier Deschamps has a lot to answer for, because he made some interesting decisions in the final? I mean, the one I want to point out is taking off Payet in the final. Now, I don't know if there was like issues over his fitness or his energy levels, but surely the one person that has that creative flair in a match that desperately needs a creative flair, why would you take that player off? Like that doesn't understand to me.
He hadn't really got involved in the game.
No,
when his name went up, I kind of went, oh yeah, he was.
Yeah.
But that would have been the same case for Pogba and all the other players that was in the French squad. But even in that kind of like nervous area, you would want to keep all their creative players on, even if it's just like for 1 second and he does something brilliant. Like he did it in the Romania game, did it in other games as well during the tournament. Perhaps he was burnt out. Maybe, I don't know.
I think the fact came from the fact that Portugal, short of Ronaldo, were much more defensively sound.
They were, yeah.
Like they really shored up and were like, right, we're gonna get a goal and nick this.
Yeah.
You know?
At least they had a mindset from the start. It seemed like, to your point, Neil, they were defensively sound and said, okay, let's just like hold out as much as we can and then eke something out of it, and they did. Like it eventually.
Oh yeah.
I think for France they just didn't seem to have a game plan. They just seemed like, oh yeah, we'll walk in, we'll show off a nice bit of football and win. There was no game plan.
I think for France, this whole tournament really was kind of defeat from the jaws of victory.
Yeah.
I mean, it's funny that you can say like they get to a final of a major tournament and we're still considering them failures. Like
yeah, but like I said, it's the fact that the tournament was so set up for them to win.
It was a total missed opportunity.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, yeah.
But and of course that's with the tournament as it is. I mean, overall the tournament Euro 2016, it wasn't a great bastion of football, was it? Really, let's be delicate about this. It was probably one of the weaker tournaments football wise that we've seen.
Decade, probably.
Yeah. I'll probably go further than that, to be honest. This was not good for if you wanted to go back to watch good football matches. You might want to give this tournament a miss because a lot of the big countries did not turn up really, and even when they did, they just seemed to like bluff their way through. Like Germany and Spain were really bad in this tournament.
Spain were awful.
Spain were terrible. Yeah, definitely.
Germany only bet Northern Ireland like 1-0.
Yeah, and that's purely by like possession, really. Like
no, didn't they smoke Slovakia 3-0?
They did, yeah, they did. That was like their one major like victory. I suppose you can count Ukraine. Like that was a fairly comprehensive on scoreline, but not in the match itself. It was far more competitive, But when they came up against like once they just got past Italy, it just didn't take a lot out of them, and they just couldn't deal then in the semi-finals.
Well, in all fairness, they only beat Italy on penalties.
Yeah.
So like I mean.
That was one of the most appalling penalty shootouts I've ever watched.
I know.
I've watched under 10s.
When you look,
like that was actually so bad it's good.
Yeah, it was just like
it was highly entertaining.
Oh yeah, that bubbled its way out of the cons into the pros column for me. Like
Yeah, I mean, I think we'll all relive the Simon Zaza penalty purely for like a lesson to children. How you don't take a penalty. You do not like do a fucking river dance all the way. You don't like dinky way you're down to the penalty spot.
I just think the funniest thing is that he was brought on specifically for penalties.
Yeah, exactly. That was it. He only had one job.
That is the poetry in that action.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean it's. I can't even really like. So we can talk later on about like the best match, but that's like the best match in entertainment purposes and like football wise, but there's no real footballing beauty that I can like pick out from this tournament.
Well, there's a couple of glimpses.
I thought Croatia played very good football.
They did, but they didn't get that far. Like that was the sad thing about it.
They were kind of my dark horses. I kind of peaked out at the start, and when I saw their first game, I think it was against Poland, they played really good football, and I kind of was like, oh yeah, I made a good choice here, but they kind of fell away. Their kind of passing kind of dropped in the next match. And
I think it was a match.
That seemed to be the case with a lot of teams, that they went in and they were fresh and they were playing good football, and as the tournament went on, the fatigue set in. That could
definitely.
be a case that the fatigue because of their home leagues only ended mid-May, we'll say, and then they started in June, and the international friendlies in between that, they didn't really get a chance to recuperate.
Yeah, that seemed to be a growing trend for like a lot of the dark horse teams, like as you said, Croatia. I made a mistake actually in my intro. It was actually Portugal that beat them.
It was
the round of 16. It was the Quaresma goal in extra time.
The only shot on fucking target in the entire goddamn fucking game.
But like, and it was teams like Croatia. I guess.
Like watching Arsenal match.
Hey. The Premier League is only 1 month away, guys. You better look forward to it. But yeah, like I can see that for Croatia, just like they start off strong, and like one match, I guess you could say, if you wanted like a proper footballing exhibition, I guess Croatia and Spain would be the best bet out of the group stages, because Spain were very open, Croatia were very open, and like Croatia beat Spain, and everyone just kind of turned their heads.
Yeah.
You know.
But the thing is, Croatia were a good team to pick right off the start.
They were, yeah.
I think that fucking midfield. They've got midfield. Modric, Rakitic, and Perisic,
and Kovacic as well as backup.
Yeah.
It's
fucking hell.
It's a beauty of a midfield, but obviously they had a lot of weaknesses in the end. But I guess another team you could say that disappointed in terms of their players was Belgium. Like they got to a certain point and then nothing. Like they just gave up. Like they had reached their quota and just said, right, I'm fucking off on holiday, you know. And of course we all know what happened to Belgium in the quarterfinals. We'll deal with them shortly. But
alright, what team is next?
I guess any other teams we want to remark on while we're here, like teams that overall either impressed us or disappointed us.
England did their usual big tournament.
Yeah. Oh, we'll get to England, Rachel. We have a special section prepared for England. Believe me.
I know,
This is going to be a full post-mortem on the FA. Believe me. But yeah, England have to be.
I will say that Italy. I think when myself and Jonathan were doing the preamble to the tournament, neither of us really commented on Italy, and I have to say I was impressed by them. I know they lost out on penalties, but their actual play and passing was really impressive, and I was surprised by how well they turned out, because there's a lot of unknown players, or players that are kind of bound to the Italian league. You don't see them be in European football.
Yeah.
I was impressed.
Yeah, they actually, like, I was surprised myself now, I'll be honest. Obviously, they're in the same group as us, so we know more about them from watching the games against us and our opponents. But as you said, like, they seem to have like a really good system in there, and even if they had lost a lot of like world-class players, I mean, they would have lost like Pirlo, Chiellini wasn't there, Buffon was still there, but he is like getting on now.
Balotelli.
Let's not shut the fuck up. Still a sour spot, by the way. But
yeah, you're right. It is one of the, on paper at the very least, it was one of the worst Italian teams I can remember.
Yeah, but the system was still there, and the players they had still fit into it. Like they
were
had
totally ruthless. Like.
Yeah, they worked out really well. I think that's more down to Conte. I think it was having a system that suited all whatever kind of players they had available.
What, everybody fears him?
Yes.
I mean, that back three of Chiellini, Bonucci and Barzagli were fucking watertight.
They were brilliant. I'm actually,
to be honest with you, the fucking everybody tweeting around that video of Conte screaming. I think it was it Lukaku had a chance, and they videotaped Conte bouncing around the sideline screaming, "I will kill you! I will kill you!"
But so that's in your future, Chelsea. That's what you hired.
Not get back into the position. Not tackle him earlier. I will kill you.
I'm looking forward to that when he's at Chelsea and he's like giving a fucking shouting match to Gary Cahill.
Oh, he's gonna shake things up at Chelsea.
I'm looking forward to that. Just going from, like, imagine that's the defence you're going to. You're going from Chiellini and Bonucci to Gary Cahill and John Terry. Yeah, amazing. But I mean, I let's be honest now. I said it in our preamble that I felt that Portugal were going to be the team to disappoint, and it was actually karma for me because in my local I managed to get Portugal in the sweepstakes. So I was thinking, right, that's just karma for me, like completely no selling Portugal. And then here we are, 3 weeks later, and I'm fucking I'm quids in, and Portugal have won the tournament. So it shows that I have known nothing about football. Do not listen to this man for advice, but give me the money, please. Appreciate it. But let's move on then. Let's talk about the format of Euro 2016. This is obviously a bit different this time around to include more teams. 24 teams took part in this tournament instead of the usual 16. It involved a lot of the smaller teams, like countries that wouldn't have necessarily got in, like Albania, Hungary, Slovakia. That's just naming a few. Do you think the extended format worked, or does it need to go away for a long time?
I think it worked. You go.
Yeah, no, I was going to just say that, like, for the small nations that benefited from actually, oh look, we've qualified for some big tournament. That's obviously going to boost the revenue. It's going to boost the morale of teams like ourselves or, Hungary or Albania.
Yeah.
And that can only cause growth in those countries. So I think as a long-term thing, it's a good idea to spur on football in European countries where maybe it isn't so big.
Yeah.
As a spectator move, it caused a lot of matches. Teams came down to the lower teams, the likes of Italy, when we bet Italy. That was just a case of, Italy played their second string team.
Yeah.
And we're playing full strength, trying our hardest, and they're kind of sitting back kind of going, nah man, I want my pizza,
where's my passes on order, clicking fingers, yeah. Yeah.
I think as a spectator sport it was detrimental, but as a long-term growth activity for football in Europe, it can be good.
Yeah, because by all accounts, we got into the tournament because of the expanded format, because we would have been in the playoff. We got through in the playoffs. I don't think we would have gone in anyway if it wasn't 24 teams. If it was just 16 teams, we were not in contention. So by all that accounts, thanks to the expanded format, we were able to go, and the Irish fans were able to be loved by everybody in Europe. So that's something, right? But even about what you're saying about the spectator, is that not an inherently television thing to see a small team going up against a big team that's not really trying? It's a very kind of cliche thing in sport, isn't it? Again, best example was ourselves against Italy, wasn't it? And look how that turned out. We got through to the round of 16 as a result.
Yeah.
But my personal opinion is the 24 teams are okay, but it does need some work. I think the third place system is a bit bullshit because it meant that a team like Albania couldn't get through. When you could have easily had a system where you have, say, 8 groups of 4 instead of having 6 groups of 4 and then third place teams go through. I don't know how the seeding will work for that, but at least and it would result in a more broader second half to the tournament. But
it just means that 24 is just an awful fucking number for knockout tournament.
It is, yeah, it is. You can either go 32 or 16. 24 is as an awful middle ground. Yeah, definitely.
Absolutely. Well, the funny thing is that we benefited from the expanded 2014 format, which was great, and I did enjoy the tournament quite a lot. But there's a trade-off between letting more teams in that it becomes less of an elite competition.
Yeah. Yeah,
See,
exactly.
That's the whole purpose of the Euros, is that it's an elite competition. If you want everybody to play everybody, that's what the fucking World Cup is for.
That's true, yeah.
So, it's to be honest with you, fuck it, I liked it. Fuck it, keep it. Do
you think the tournament went on too long? Because it was a full month of a tournament, really, from start to finish. I felt even for the players, if you were finishing your domestic season, as the point raised earlier on, and then 2 weeks, and if you're not taking part in friendlies, you're going straight onto the plane to France into a training camp, and a full tournament of matches, a full month of matches if you're going towards the end, and you only got a month then to get ready for your domestic season. Now that's a lot on a player, as much as we say about elite athletes and all, but you have to give these guys a break eventually. Yeah.
Like, I think it was very clear. I think a lot of players who play in the Premier League, their legs faded a lot quicker.
Yeah, especially the Belgian team, I found.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They just didn't have the legs to keep running.
No, and I think we would have said the England team, but I think there's more mitigating factors to that, so which we'll get to shortly. But before we do, let's just kind of pick out a few like standout players, teams, and all that. So let's start off with surprise team. What team are you delighted with in this tournament? For me, this.
Yeah, could you even attempt to look past Iceland, man?
No, I was about to say there's just one clear contender. But I think we're all happy for Iceland, aren't we? Like they really just impressed everyone. I think what else can I say about them?
Teams like that are one of the arguments for the expanded format. You know, without 24 teams, they wouldn't have been there.
Well, that's the thing, you see, because they were top of their group in the qualifiers, so they would have got through if it was only 16.
Oh, would they?
Yeah, they would have. Yeah, they went in through merit. Like they beat like the Netherlands and they beat Portugal as well on the way in. So like they really did get there by merit. You know, it was actually in essence us that got in, bluffing our way through. But Iceland definitely got there by merit, and you can see why. That is a fucking well organized and well drilled team. And for me, that was like
the win over England was just.
It was perfect, wasn't it? It was beautiful. It was a joy to behold.
Match of the tournament.
I was about to ask actually. One of the questions I had lined up was match of the tournament, so that answers Neil's one.
We'll get to that one.
Yeah, but I think Iceland's our pick for a surprise team. Although I think we have to give Wales a shout as well. They were fantastic.
Although I did call that in our pre.
Yeah, and you have a promise to hold out on as well.
Yeah, I have to go to Oystermouth.
I can see that being a travel vlog series on Monday Madness channel. Plug. that has to be a thing. That's a travel vlog to Oystermouth.
Yeah,
that's it.
So, yeah, in the last podcast we did, I said that if Wales get to the semi-finals, which I thought they would, FIFA have to pay to my trip to Oystermouth, which is a voting minuscule Wales. Which my phone, when it was broken, autocorrected every single word to.
Yeah.
And so that became a kind of joke in the last one, so to clear it out for any new listeners.
There you go, yeah. So look forward to that on the YouTube channel where Rachel eventually goes to Oystermouth and experiences all the wonderful things that the town has to offer. I understand it has a lovely castle for you to go to if you're into that sort of thing.
That's good. You can go Pokemon Go hunting there.
So I wonder if there's any Welsh Pokemon there. Maybe Mareeps. I don't know. That's the closest thing I can think of. But okay, let's move on then. Let's talk about our disappointing teams. I think we can all say this in unison. 3, 2, 1. England.
England.
Yeah, moving swiftly on. Okay, match of the tournament then. Neil, you already said England versus Iceland.
It just had everything, man.
It did. What about you, Rachel? What was your match of the tournament? Whether it be by footballing merit or entertainment purposes?
I think actually one of the first ones, the Croatia-Spain match, was one of my favourite matches to watch.
Yeah, actually.
I also really enjoyed the Italy match for obvious.
Yeah, that was a great story as well. Just how we were able to just dig in and actually challenge Italy. Like that meant a lot for us in a sense, you know, because we have past like history with Italy and Schillaci. So it's
fuck Schillaci.
Fuck Griezmann. That's another T-shirt that's gonna be made. But yeah, no, I think we can. Yeah, I think we're so Spain and Croatia.
I did enjoy just watching France play in general because I did think they were a pretty decent team, pretty decent outfit.
Yeah.
Good football.
Oh, they were brilliant.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think like France Iceland was a great match. And France Ireland was a great match. So yeah. Yeah,
excellent. I'd have to say I think I'm gonna go for something that's a little bit different actually, and I'm gonna go for Wales Belgium. The reason I'm going for that one in particular was the fact that the Welsh team changed so like gradually in that match. Like Belgium went ahead very early, and it looked like Belgium were going to run all over them because like Rangeland scored, Lukaku and De Bruyne were all over the fullbacks. The defense was really pinned in, and it was just like that. There was like a 5 or 10 minutes where the pressure just kind of came off for Wales, and they were just able to just creep up the pitch, and they started getting just more and more belief. Then, you know, like it was like there's like a 10-minute period, a cool down, if you will, that like Wales just went, hang on, we're pinning them back now. They're not challenging us anymore. And then
Rambo and Allen were just immense in that game.
Yeah, we'll talk about standout players in a bit, but it was just like the corner from Ramsey was beautiful. Like the fact that he was able to pick out Williams so well. Williams was so unmarked as well, which is like astounding to me. Like, how could you miss the big fuck off centre back in the middle of your box? But that's
exactly.
That's Belgium.
It's a set of fucking car keys. Like, how did they lose here? Like,
no, what's better was the second goal. Was a Cruyff turn from Robson Kanu. That was masterful.
That was fantastic.
That was brilliant. Like it was literally the moment of seeing like the 3 Belgian players, like someone who can't play FIFA, going all the way to the corner flag, missing the goal completely, and there you are, just centre and scoring.
That does point to a lot of like systemic weaknesses with the Belgian team. I mean, when almost your entire defense gets sold down the river by Hal fucking Robson Kanu
of Reading fame, no less.
Yeah,
free agent after being released by Reading.
Yes.
But yeah, I mean that speaks about Belgium as well. Just no game plan. Just they play their best players and nothing else. You know, and as we saw in the tournament, the most organised teams pull through. So
is Wilmot still in his job?
I think he is, yeah. I don't think he's been dismissed yet. I don't see how, because he does not deserve it. He does not deserve to be in control of the best generation that Belgium will ever have. You know, like the World Cup is going to be next for Belgium, and they need to get someone who actually knows what they're doing. Like I have no faith in Wilmots as a coach. I've seen him in this tournament and in the World Cup before. Like I don't know. He doesn't strike me as a good coach. Alright, so moving swiftly on then. Player of the tournament, guys. What's your picks?
Rambo.
Same here, I'm going with Rambo.
That really? Okay, interesting. Because I think it goes without saying that one of the candidates for player of the tournament has to be Joe Allen. But that's just my personal preference, of course. But no, seriously, Allen had it.
Full support with Joe Allen, and the 2 Arsenal supporters went with Rambo.
Yeah, it's almost like we're biased or something. You know, it's really weird. But no, I don't think you can doubt for either of them. They had superb tournaments. I think another one, if we're going to stick with Wales, I think Ashley Williams deserves recognition as well. He was a very crucial player for Wales. Defensively, kept them organised, kept them calm. I think Griezmann, obviously top goal scorer. He was voted player of the tournament. But very quiet at the start of the tournament, I found. He only really kicked it into gear in the knockout stages. Actually, I'm going to go for a bit of a blue chipper here for my player of the tournament. I'm going to go for the Portugal goalkeeper, Rui Patricio.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sporting.
Yeah, I don't understand how. I know, like, he hasn't really been spoken about as such, like, for transfer talk. I know, like, Spurs were looking for him when at the same time they're looking for Lloris, and they went for Lloris over him. That's the only time I've heard that, like, he's been linked to anybody outside of Sporting, which I find incredible because I think he's a superb goalkeeper that, you know, can walk into any team and be their number one. Yeah, he's great. So yeah, that's my pick, Rui Patricio. Maybe.
I think as a player that I thought was fantastic was Matuidi.
Yes, Matuidi was pretty good.
Yeah, would I say the Sissoko was better? Even though, like, he's did nothing at Newcastle.
Well, he'll earn them 35 million if they have any fucking say in the matter.
That is complete bullshit, by the way. Holy shit. Yeah, championship side demanding 35 million for a player who does not want to be there. Yeah, that's gonna work, lads. Sure.
I think he's off to China, isn't he?
What's that?
He's off to China.
I haven't heard anything, but I'll have a gander. I wouldn't put it past them, to be honest. They got fucking sold Pella for quids in as well, so that'll be a thing.
I thought he was quite good at this tournament. Again, like the team surprising me by how well they played.
Yeah.
That was kind of vintage Southampton play, where he's actually doing really good stuff in the game and not just standing there.
Yeah, that's true. That kind of helps sometimes. What with disappointing players, lads? Is there any player in particular that you expected more from?
Joe Hart.
Ooh, yeah. Actually, that's a pretty good bet, actually. Because boy, he had a stinker of a tournament.
To be honest with you, now, if Joe Hart ever puts on a fucking England jersey again, they deserve everything that they get.
Yeah.
I have not been on the Joe Hart bandwagon, and I am going to go on a fucking rant here because I don't like the man.
Here we go, lads! First rant of the night!
I just don't like the man, alright? But to be honest with you, his contribution pretty much epitomises why I've never ever thought he was a solid keeper. His whole chest thumping, come on lads, they don't even want it, let's get the fucking ball in there. It was cringeworthy. And then, oh my god. See, the funny thing is, right, what was really bad was that he was actually getting to the goals, getting to the balls, and still flapping them in.
Yeah, it was like he was not trying hard enough to like clear it away. Like,
he's just not strong enough.
No.
The Bale goal.
Oh my god.
40 yards.
No,
my first watch, I was watching it in work on the slide, so I had a small screen going, and I went, oh, what a great goal! And then I saw like the close-up replays, and I was like, nope, what an absolute failure from a goalkeeper.
Totally. And the funny thing is that everybody was talking, when I was talking about Joe Hart, because being the only goalkeeper that most people know, generally I get the spear tip of these conversations. But everybody was like, oh, France and Italy and Germany, they all have reserve keepers that I pick ahead of Hart. And I went, so do England.
Yeah, Fraser Forster.
You know, like, you put Forster in that goal. None of those goals happen.
No. I'd say even for a guy who's like 6'8", he's like, he would be more agile than Hart in those situations.
He's not slow.
No.
Like, and he's at least twice as strong as Joe Hart. He's not flattening a ball into the fucking net.
Definitely not, no.
You know, it's just, Joe Hart left this tournament more famous for his lack of dandruff than his goalkeeping ability.
He entered it too as well, let's be fair.
You know, oh man, it was just fucking so awfully bad, and it was just...
So can we officially call Joe Hart then the new Robert Greene? And endorse him as that?
You can. Now don't get me wrong, honourable mentions should go to the rest of the England team.
Yes.
Sterling. Kane. Yeah.
Roy Hodgson.
I think Aldo could be up there for worst players of the tournament.
Which one?
Ronaldo.
Yeah. Yeah.
I sense a bit of personal bias in that decision.
I just think he was rubbish.
He didn't have his best tournament. That is true.
I loved how, like, every time he didn't score, to me you're like, oh, poor Ronaldo. He didn't score, and he needs to score because this is his tournament. Like, I don't see him sponsoring the tournament. I don't know why they kept saying it's his tournament. Oh, it just wrecks my head. The same way that Joe Hart riles up Neil, the very mention of
yeah.
boiled his blood. Same with Ronaldo, really, with me.
Yeah.
And then, like Joe Hart, like my sister, who doesn't particularly follow football, she can name majority of the Arsenal players because I bombard her with pictures and information.
Yeah, it's the only way she'll learn.
But she also knows that there's a goalkeeper called Joe Hart, and he had dandruff, but then he doesn't anymore. It's that level of, celebrity. He doesn't want to be a professional footballer. He wants to be a celebrity.
Yeah.
Like, I can see Joe Hart in Celebrity Big Brother 2010.
Mark it down, lads. That's another prediction from the
ever reliable.
Absolutely.
Well, you predicted Wales to the semi-final, so yeah, you're 1 for 1 so far.
Well, I'll say one thing about him going on. Who wants I'm a celebrity, get me out of here. Let's hope none of the challenges involve the strength of his wrists.
he has
There's fucking nothing there.
Yeah, he just fails completely in arm wrestling.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's a comprehensive result on the players of disappointing players in the tournament. I'll actually go for Thomas Muller for my one because holy shit, that guy was anonymous throughout the whole campaign. And as good as Germany were in the early stages, like they were winning games, they were picking up points and scoring a few goals. They had just no strikers at all. Like Mario Gomez is way past his prime. He's playing like Besiktas now, and that's like the level he is at now.
Wasn't he the top scorer in the Turkish league?
Well, yeah, but that's a Turkish league. You know, it's a level. Yeah, it's a level way below. Yeah, I was gonna say Robin van Persie is still there, but that's Robin van Persie. But but the fact is, like, you could see immediately that not having a recognised centre striker for Germany was going to be a problem when they got to bigger teams. You know, it was grand when they were up against like fucking completely disorganised units like Spain and Slovakia that like were not going to pick up all these like playmaking geniuses like Draxler and Cruz and Ozil and Muller and all these other players. But when they really boil down to it, when you go up against a team that are more fluid, you need to be more structured. And Germany didn't have that structure. You know, they didn't have that one person that you can pin it up top to and bang in the goals.
What's funny is that I was surprised that they even went with either. I wasn't surprised that they took Muller. I was surprised that they took Gomez as well.
Yeah.
I would have figured that if Muller was having a shit tournament, they'd have just gone with a Spanish-style 4-6-0 fucking formation.
They could have easily gone for a false nine. I mean, they did that in the final, I think. And
isn't like Goetze their go-to false nine and he's crap at it?
Yeah, he is. But then again, the last time he was there as a false nine, he scored the winning goal in the World Cup. So, I mean, which way do you go, really? But, yeah.
He barely get his game.
Yeah, that's true as well.
No, I'm trying to think of a good German centre forward.
There is none. They don't exist. The last one was Miroslav Klose.
I was about to say they haven't had a decent one since Klose.
Yeah. He's a specialty player over there. Like he's like one of the.
You're really stuck. They could have gone like Peter Crouch style and brought Mertesacker out of retirement and just stuck him there. He didn't have to run.
That's the thing. Like Klose.
Get Draxler or Ozil or any of the fantastic passes to just chip the ball into the boards. Mertesacker is there to say, like, I don't know, I should be a coach or something.
That's the thing, like, you do raise a good point. You could have had Klose just stand, like, basically static. He wouldn't have needed to move. All the guys behind him would do the running around and giving him the supply.
Pinpoint passing. You only have players like they do.
Yeah.
Just have someone half decent and tall.
That's it. That's all I needed. But I guess like that was the main issue I had with Muller was the fact that like he doesn't have like a specified position. You know, he's either on midfield or he's like on the left or the right or he's up forward, but he doesn't stay at the one position. He wanders around the place. So if you're trying to make him your like centerpiece of your team, you can't because you don't know where the fuck he is at any point. Like his position is so undefined, it actually unbalanced the German team, and that's one of the reasons why I think he was out of form because like he couldn't get the supply, and when he could get the supply, he was so out of position that he couldn't do anything, and there was no one there to pick it up with him. So yeah, that's my reasoning, I guess, but I think that's more of a issue with Muller than anything else. So that's basically it for the tournament as a whole. I mean. I think we covered more or less everything else. So let's go in depth then and talk about obviously the home nations, as you can guess from our accents. Let's start with our own Republic of Ireland. We had a decent old tournament, lads. I think. Let's be fair.
Yeah, we certainly made the most of it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So in work, we got a half day in order to watch the match. Like, we still have to do work, but the match was on, so no one actually did work.
I love it. Love
it
the
was
honesty.
that kind of party atmosphere of like, lads, look, we're doing it. We're on the world stage, and we've got Whelan from the
show. We've got Whelan. Oh shit.
No, in fairness, I did see him put like at least 3 passes forward, which was. You know, a personal
best for Whelan, yeah.
So, no, it was very enjoyable to actually get to see Ireland doing well-ish on the international stage, and not falling apart and making an absolute show of ourselves like we have done in the past.
Yeah. Like I said, I think we'll all have that Italy game like in our memories. That was our Italian or like our kind of like moment, our one big match in that tournament, and then that's it. That's the one we keep talking about years on. Like
that's like gonna give Robbie Brady the key to Ireland.
Yeah, like there's a whole generation of kids now that are just gonna be called Robbie Brady. You know, not like all one word, like not Robbie, or just Robbie Brady.
To be honest with you, like I cannot remember a more enjoyable tournament for us in living memory. Like,
well, you should know, Neil. I mean, we have an eyewitness account after all. Mister I went to Ireland versus Sweden out of blind fucking luck. Not bitter, by the way.
But bar the Belgium game, we totally did ourselves proud.
Yeah,
you know. Because I mean, the expanded format really made this the tournament of the underdog. I mean, we were all screaming for Iceland. I was personally gutted for Wales.
Yeah, same here.
It was just
and Northern Ireland.
And Northern Ireland. But it was just a summer of amazing positivity.
Yeah.
And that's what I truly, truly loved about this, you know?
That's what I loved about us as a whole. Like, because we were so positive, and especially, like, our own fans were so positive. Because this was a rotten tournament off the field. Like, there was so many bomb scares, there was so much protests in the country, and all that. There's a whole lot of fans being dickheads. Mostly England and Russian fans. You know, let's call it spade a spade, that's what it was. But there was other incidents as well with ultras in the country just trying to, like, show off and all. And then you could have like a 15-minute like footage of Stan Collymore having a bit of a moan and going, "Oh, this is tragic. Look at all the lawn chairs being hit in my ugly fast face." And then you have Ireland fans fixing a car, singing a lullaby, praying to a nun.
That was my favourite video.
The nun one had to be my favourite one.
No, I think what my favourite one was. It was the one where what was it? There's some guy fucked up a guy's car, like the roof on a car, right? He put a big dent in it, right? And basically was like so apologetic he started trying to fix it. And then this whole swarm of Irish lads then came around and were trying to like lick it and clean it and all that. And it was very obvious from like the clothes, they were all like the Dublin lads that were there. And they were just trying to help out. And then fucking one of the knackers comes around, you can see from the flat cap, pushes them all away, you can hear, "Come on lads, I'll fucking handle this." Licks it, just cleans the fucking thing out, and just like immediately solves everything, and everyone's partying again. That was my favourite clip, because that was like Ireland in a nutshell. You know, it was a cross section of Irish society. Like the Dublin lads who were there for the crack immediately regret something, and then one of the country fellas knows what to do because he's been there and cleans it up immediately, and we're all off on the session again.
But I have to say for us, we played out our skins and positively changed the perception of Irish football. I mean, it's going to be probably the first time in our history we're going to be remembered more for our football than for the crack.
Yeah. Well, I'd say it's an even balance, Neil. I'd say. I think it's because, like you said, that's what we're there for. To be fair, that's what people know us from. So we have to still do it. Maybe not in Russia now. Let's be fair, but in more pleasant countries, shall we say, that don't like kick the shit out of everyone else's fans,
or imprison homosexuals.
That too, as well. That's a bit of a problem, in my opinion.
Actually, that was one of the things. Jeff Hendrick for one of the surprise good players.
Hendrick was so good in this tournament.
Jimi Hendrix.
Yeah, Jimi Hendrix. Change approved.
Change approved. Jimi Hendrix, baby.
He was fantastic, and I think he is going to get. I hope he does get a Premier League move out of it. But he is in a pretty good team with Derby anyway. So whichever way you go for, really. I guess you have to say Robbie Brady had a great tournament as well, didn't he? I mean, scored a very important goal and has always been there. But as regards to negative players, fucking James McCarthy, lads. What the fuck is he doing here? What is he? Every match I watched from Ireland, I was never happy at James McCarthy. Everything he did pissed me off. Like he didn't like do any marking. I think it was actually Kieran Clark was pissed off with in the Sweden game, but the Belgian game, I let loose at James McCarthy. Every person he marked, he lost. Like how the living fuck does a defensive midfielder go through his whole career without having a concept of marking? That's what you're there for, you dickhead. Why are you in this fucking team if you don't know what to do? You know, if you're not happy with marking, let someone else do it and you have a different role in the team. But no, you have to be a deep line midfielder and think that you're really good. When you're not, you're a lazy shit in a team that complements you at Everton. That's round number 2, by the way, for the night. I'll be quiet now.
He was quite frustrating.
Yeah. Would you say Shane Long was a bit frustrating as well? I know he's not the goal scoring type, but he just didn't get onto much in the tournament.
Kicked around.
He did.
He was like kung fu chopped in half.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, that is true. He didn't get much shall we say space, because I think a lot of people kind of knew like, oh shit, he's gonna run past us. We have to get rid of him. But he was well neutralised anyway.
Yeah, he was quite like, I think he was the kind of main man. You know, any team coming up against Ireland would be like, right, we need to get this guy under control. Whatever it's the rest of them, they can't do shit. But and then it was a case of, oh wait, this Hendricks guy, oh shit, we should probably mark him a bit more. And then, you know, it was kind of like Shane Long just didn't get chat.
It's like it was that same thing as well. It's like, hey, that left back Robbie Brady is very good to us all. What is he doing in the penalty box? Oh, bollocks, we lost. Yeah, but I think that's fairly comprehensive on Ireland. So let's talk about Northern Ireland then. I have to say, it's very representative as well. They've had a superb tournament and they thoroughly deserve getting to the round of 16.
Yeah. Like they didn't play terrible football, which I think a lot of people were kind of, you know, worried
expecting.
Like there was obviously an element of defensiveness, but they did have some decent open play. And they were without their star man.
who was still presently on fire.
But like, no, they made a good account of themselves, and it's their first like major tournament in 30 years or whatever.
Yeah, it's about that, yeah.
And like, you know, you wouldn't know it. You'd know. They took to it well, and I think they provided a good bit of, you know, like ourselves. The fans were quite good, and they were quite well liked. Good natured, I must say. Yeah, and like there was no trouble between us and them.
Not at all, no.
So, you know, that's always a plus. In these troubling Brexit times.
Hashtag Brexit. But yeah.
Getting topical there, Rachel, what the fuck?
She's contractually obliged to get topical.
Political.
But
no, I thought it's actually quite a weird situation, because a few of the Nordies I know, they've actually said this to me, that if you'd have told them at the start they'd get to the second round, they'd have been delighted. But however, the way they went out, they felt like they sold themselves kind of short. You know.
Yeah, leaving on an own goal will do that to you, I think.
Yeah, well, see, the thing is that they played the better football against Wales.
Yeah, they did.
Now, don't get me wrong. I don't think they'd have beaten Belgium, but they should have beaten Wales.
No, I think it was a very attritional game, but like there's no fine margins in that. Like there was really like two fucking like forces cancelling each other out. But I think the thing that came across from me with the Northern Irish team was that they were exceptionally patient. They were a very patient side, and I think that you know, well, they were
is that code for boring?
No, actually, it isn't. It's not a boring team at all. I mean, it's a team that I think suited this tournament.
They weren't very easy to watch.
They weren't, but they didn't need to be. Like, you look at the players, there's no, like, there wasn't like the Wales side where you had Gareth Bale that can storm and be intrepid up the field. It was a team that understood who they were and what kind of players they were. There was big, physical lads that are hard to break down and are a strong unit, you know, the sum of their parts. And I think plaudits had to go to Michael O'Neill for recognising that and not being a team, or like not pretending to be a team that they're not, i.e. England. So at least they realised that, okay, these are the players we have, this is a system that complements them, and it's a system that suits tournament football. Because let's face it, they were hard done against Poland. I think they lost 2-0, I think. They held Germany to a 1-0 loss, or 1-0 win, sorry. And that was after surrendering nearly 70% possession, but they still held firm. And the result against Ukraine was absolutely justified.
That was very good. That was
absolutely justified. So for me, their style of football suited the tournament system. So if they stick,
doesn't make it any easy to watch.
It doesn't, but it doesn't need to be. Look at Portugal. Portugal got through the final for not being easy to watch. They just were resilient, and that's just the way. That's how you get the victory in that situation. That was an overall theme I found in this tournament, where teams that didn't have aesthetically beautiful football, but just were able to hold firm and be organised. That was the best team in comparison to something that was fluid and tiki-taka and having the best players, best creative geniuses on the pitch. That failed, and yet a team that has really dull, uninteresting players succeeds. It was counterintuitive in a way, because we've had World Cups where Spain and Germany have been winners, and Brazil and Argentina, and they're the best players. But it doesn't matter when you have something that's so dreadfully organised that it makes the whole thing inert.
Yeah.
But
I just want to throw in there that I like Gareth McAuley, and I just was gutted for him then getting the own goal.
Yeah, I think we all feel for McAuley. I think because he was a boss. Yeah.
He's a standard in my fantasy football team.
Yeah.
And I just thought he was just unlucky, and despite all of Northern Ireland's defensive efforts, to be thwarted by one of their best players is just
it's rotten luck, isn't it? Especially it's just in the nature it happened as well. But well, speaking of that match, let's move on to Wales, who obviously the best out of the home nations, rightfully so, getting to the semi-finals. What do you think they were hard done by in the semi-finals, or was it justified? They just seem to run out of steam for me.
I think they really missed Rambo.
Yeah, I think that's fair to say.
2 stupid yellow cards.
Well, in all fairness, the whole two yellow cards over 5 games is a pretty stupid fucking rule.
It is, yeah. I mean, it's cock-blocked a lot of players in this tournament. Pepe is probably another example of that, but it ultimately didn't matter for them. Or was he injured? Sorry, I think.
He was injured. But
that's right. It's someone else I'm thinking of then. But anyway.
Well, no, they didn't play Pepe under the pretense that he was injured, but I think it was to stop him getting a yellow card.
That's probably what I'm thinking of then, yeah. But yeah.
I think they just missed that bit of creativity. I think they had King come in. This is Wales now. They had King come in for Ramsey, and to do that role, but that's a very specified role. That Ramsey.
Yeah, because you're constantly moving with that role, aren't you? You're constantly passing. Yeah.
Creative, kind of Stephen Gerrard at Liverpool-esque type role, where you're doing the defensive dirty work as well as
driving the team forward. Yeah.
Yeah, accurate and provide for your team. And I think for the matches the group stages and on into the further rounds, his passing was amazing.
Yeah, he was fantastic. He was consistently, and Wales needed him to be at that level as well. That's what I found.
He took the pressure off Bale a whole lot.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because everyone was expecting Bale to do wonders. When you've got 3 players marking you, I don't know how you're meant to. I know you're a big fan of Bale. But at the same time, you can't deny he's their, star.
Yeah, he is.
But I don't think he would have benefited as much in this tournament if Ramsey hadn't been there.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the amount of energy and creativity he provides to the team was ridiculous. And I think everybody was in agreement that had he been available they'd have beaten Portugal.
Yeah, I would have. I would agree with that as well, because it would have been just like the extra thing that made them the superior unit.
But yeah, he's just, whenever he gets the ball, the whole team just goes, they just knock it up a notch.
Yeah, totally. How much credit do you think Chris Coleman deserves for that team? Because we always say it's grand having a team of yeah. I mean, it's easy to have a team of like really talented players, but it's always a job to get them to play properly.
Well, also a lot of people also forget the conditions he initially went into the team.
Yeah, absolutely.
Where it couldn't be fucking worse. Like I genuinely cannot imagine a worse scenario to be appointed your national coach.
Yeah,
the death of not only the previous manager but a fucking national icon.
Yeah, and your friend.
Yeah, and your mate. So for him to go in when the bar is literally set so low, pick an entire team up, and just it was fucking brilliant.
And it was started so bad as well. Didn't he have he was like thrashed in his first friendly game, I think it was.
It was a rugby start.
Yeah, and just immediately just picked it up and kept going.
Yeah, and just the way that whole "Together We're Stronger" hashtag thing, it was just brilliant. I mean, he really, really went out of his way to foster. We're not just Bale
or Ramsey.
You know, 9 other guys there.
Joe Allen.
But he has his own day, so he can fuck off, you know.
He deserves a full fucking year, you pricks.
Yeah.
You're all ungrateful.
Yeah, Joe Allen is to be made into the Zodiac.
Yes.
Like the 15th Zodiac.
Yes, actually. He's going to replace Capricorn.
Yeah.
Okay.
But Coleman deserves almost all of that credit.
Absolutely, yeah. Definitely. I think he's probably out of all the coaches in this tournament, he came out looking the best, in my opinion. Like, you can say so much about the Portugal coach Fernando Santos, because ironically enough, it's a weird kind of coincidence in football, but he was sacked by Greece just before this tournament and took the Portugal job. In the same way that Claudio Ranieri was sacked by Greece before he took the Leicester job. And look where the two of them are now. So, come to Greece if you want to win a tournament and get sacked beforehand. Yeah. Best place to go in football.
Yeah, but I think Coleman is second only to Conte for coach of the tournament.
Okay, that's I think I'd go along with that, I'd say.
Conte was brilliant.
Yeah.
What he did with that Italian team was fantastic. And I never ever get tired of a manager screaming, "I will kill you, I will kill you," at his own defenders.
You're gonna fucking love Jurgen Klopp next season then, in that case.
Doesn't he just dislocate his jaw and eat them whole?
That's what they say. I mean, that's what we believe happened to Jordan Ibe. Like they say about bullshit about moving to Bournemouth. I actually think Ibe has been swallowed whole by Klopp, but I think it's just been a facsimile ever since.
I just look forward to more Klopp Gurney pictures.
I think we all look forward to that. It's going to be a fun season for us. But let's get the elephant out of the room now, ladies and gentlemen. The last home nation we have to talk about, Scotland, is no. Okay, sorry. Got off track. England. Yeah. Let's start at the beginning and move on then.
Chumbawamba of national teams.
Oh boy. I mean, Jesus Christ. I mean, they could have had Ricky Tomlinson managing this national team and it would have been less of a comedy. I swear to you, this was...
No, it would have been funnier, but more bearable.
Yeah. I mean, okay, let me rephrase this. Did anything go right for England in this tournament?
Well, in this tournament, no, but their qualifying campaign was fucking brilliant.
Well, yeah, that was the easy part. You know, that was the part that Roy Hodgson actually focused on. But tournament competition, fuck me, he can't do it. He cannot cut tournaments at all. We've said this in the preview as well, but we had major doubts over the national team selection. Just glaring omissions of Drinkwater. I think Townsend would have been a great contributor to the England squad because he always turns up for England. And not even considering Jermaine Defoe after really dragging Sunderland out of the drop zone last season. And he wasn't... Single-handedly. And the fact that you don't select him, the reason you didn't select him was because he plays for Sunderland. Yet you play like Marcus Rashford, who wasn't even a fucking thing last year. Like, you wouldn't have selected him had he not been playing for Manchester United.
Yeah, funnily enough, now Rashford was actually decent every time he, for the few scant minutes he was on the pitch.
Yeah, he was great.
One of England's better players.
But that's because everyone else was so bad. Like, he was the only player that was actually fucking trying. God love him. Like, he was actually trying to, like, you know, pull the finger out for the England squad. But you give him 7 minutes in your final game, and, like, that's all you're doing. How much pressure do you think a 17-year-old, no less, can take on a European stage? In the same way that I want to be like, I don't want to criticize Sterling too much, because I think it's not necessarily justified. He's still 21. He's not an inherent goal scorer. He's a winger, right? I don't care what Brendan Rodgers says. He's not a fucking striker. He never will be. He's a wide player. He's an inside forward. Use him like that. Roy Hodgson needs to understand that as well. Don't play him out left. Play him on the opposite side where he's better. You know, and don't play him every single game when it's very obvious that he cannot do it. You know, there are so many mistakes in this England tournament. Like, you could just, like, scratch it off and start again. Because that's what they really should be doing. And I think that is what they're going to be doing in the next few weeks when they eventually get a new England manager. But this thing is just over-reliance on Rooney, over-reliance on Sterling, just no faith in any of the support players as well. And this constant, like, there was this fixation with Spurs players as well, which I know they were, like, as a group, they were the best performing English, like, side, I guess. But when you have a team like that have just been, like, crushed by Newcastle and crushed and demoralised by, like, losing to Arsenal. Yes, let's just put half of the Spurs team into the England squad straight away, and they'll snap right out of it, just like that.
Well, I quite liked all the memes around that, because, you know, obviously England came second to Wales in the group, and I just loved all the jokes were running around that, which was, if you're gonna make up half your team with Spurs players, you're just asking for your neighbours in red to finish above you.
That was a great joke. I loved that myself when I saw it.
Brilliant.
Yeah. But
yeah, but like that, they their kind of game plan going into it was like, oh, sure, Kane is doing grand. We'll throw him in and get him to do all the work.
Yeah.
But his first shot, he played the most matches this season, like, than any other player in.
Yeah, he was absolutely bollocksed. You know, you could see it.
Yeah, and he couldn't even run in a straight line. I don't know whether he can in general, but yeah, he couldn't run.
I think he needs a bell.
He can only run in zigzags like a fox.
But yeah, he was pretty useless. I think.
And then they stick him on corners.
Yeah. Okay, lads. Let's talk about this. Right. This is a competition now, right? A contest. Can you give actual justification for Harry Kane being on corners? You first, Neil.
Like, I can give you Hodgson's justification for it. It's still a load of total bollocks.
Whatever justification you can think of.
I can give you his justification is that and I actually laughed out loud at when I heard this, like, genuinely, like, right out loud. I scared the shit out of because I was on holiday at the time and I scared the shit out of a couple of people near me. And his was that there have been studies done that the best striker of the ball, like, delivers in the best ball. And I was just sitting there going, that he genuinely believes that. That's such bollocks.
Yeah, do you know what that is? That's from, like, fucking FIFA rules.
That's such total bollocks stuff, you know. So, but Harry Kane on corner, I genuinely don't know, because I mean, you could even see it. You could even see it on the poor lad's gaunt vinyl hockey mask of a face. That even he didn't really know what the fuck he was doing. He's like, I meant to be in the box.
Yeah, exactly. I was like,
I guarantee you, when he was first sent out to the corners, he thought he was being punished for pissing on the pitch. Right, Kane, you go to the corner. Careful, I couldn't go. No. You're not being punished. You have to kick the ball in. And it was just fucking unbelievable. Like, to be honest, if you could sum up the whole England tournament in 4 words, it would be Harry Kane on corners.
I couldn't sum it up better myself.
It was just ridiculous. Like,
yeah.
And I think it's funny because their campaign will be happily for them remembered for all the memes and the gifs. And Steve McLaren.
Yes! Special mention to Steve McLaren with the best timing in comedy. Outright. It's just, he was there talking shit about the Iceland team and they immediately score. And the face on him just like, woomph. Drops like he's had like 4 strokes in a row. Just like, oh god.
You see, that's the face of a man who has just condemned himself to the status of a never-ending YouTube blooper reel. That's a man who knows he's about to have the piss ripped forevermore.
Yeah.
To be honest with you,
Maybe he's happy that they're gonna, like, people, the new generation are going to forget his awful Dutch accent. That's how that he was there.
No, they'll just keep digging. They'll find, oh, who's this Steve McLaren guy? He managed Holland? Oh wow, I have to look at this. Oh.
Well, to be honest with you now, like,
Champions League.
It was actually, to be honest, a lot of people would actually think that was perfect karma because, my God, he really because he was trashing the national team's chances from the fucking studio, like.
Yeah, he's one to fucking talk. Yeah.
Absolutely. When you consider all the damage he did.
Yeah.
You know, to then go on as a pundit and start wrecking it again, all over again.
Yeah, conflict of interest much?
Yeah.
This is coming from a guy whose current track record is England, fucking up with that, going away to like an easier league like the Eredivisie and getting somewhere with FC20, then fucking up at Wolfsburg, and then coming back to like work under Ari Redknapp at QPR, then fucking up at Derby, and then getting Newcastle relegated. So why would you trust this man? It's like every time like Sky Sports brings on Alan Kirbishley. It's like, why are you still here? It is not 2001. Charlton Athletic basically not even exists anymore. Barely exists. You know, they're like on fucking life support. And you're still here.
I don't know, maybe he just has one of those faces that's like a friendly old man outside the pub who seems to know everything about football. I think maybe he uses that in his job interviews. It's just like, he just throws on that like persona of a really like, you know, drunk, happy guy outside the pub how much he loves football. And back in the day, you know, and they're like, oh, this guy knows the stuff. And he just, you know, that's how he walks into these jobs and actually...
Maybe he has a really good agent. I don't know. Maybe his agent is like fucking blessed with like some sort of divine power to get him jobs.
I'll tell you, like, his agent's got one fucking hell of a silver tongue. I'm telling you that.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Fucking mind that for silver. So I mean, let's continue on with a little bit with England. Obviously, Roy Hodgson has been completely excommunicated. I don't think he's even in England anymore. I think people have been pretending that he's like, you know, Danish to try and get rid of the sour taste in their mouths. But as of this recording, it looks like the FA have gone for Sam Allardyce as their current candidate. There's a few other names being thrown out like Steve Bruce and Jurgen Klinsmann, but Allardyce seems to be the first choice for the FA. So at this time, provisionally, is Big Sam the way to go for England?
Well, he's definitely the best of a really, really, really bad bunch.
Yeah, English coaches are just like at an all-time low in my opinion. I don't know if it's because of the league being so multinational and just like get the best people you know and make them dance for us TV peasants, or it's just the fact that there's no such thing as coaching in England anymore.
Well, it's not even that. It's even the foreign coaches that they're looking at are all shit as well.
Yeah.
It's like, I mean, like, Klinsmann, are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah.
Like, no. Like, he can't cut it in America.
No, that's why he's left America, essentially.
Yeah, I mean, they kicked him out. He was brought into the American soccer setup.
Yes.
Kind of really to revolutionise it, really get it thinking these things. And they've just fucking plateaued. It's just hilarious. Like.
And that's going by like the new generation of players they have coming in as well. And it's not helping. You know, and this is the kind of guy you want.
Really not.
Yeah. Who else has been connected as well? Like Marcelo Bielsa is there as well, isn't he? And Arsene Wenger, who is.
Well, see, the thing is, Bielsa and Wenger, especially Wenger, they're not going to get the job because they're intelligent men.
Yes. Well, Bielsa is.
That's it. Yeah.
Bielsa is not intelligent, but on the more like psychotic level.
Yeah.
Like, you need a manager who can stand up to the big clubs and say, no, your player is shite. I'm not taking them on my tournament. You know, I think a lot of the big clubs in, you know, England have a sort of sway with the FA so that their players will get preference ahead of, you know, your Sunderland players.
Yeah.
Or,
we definitely saw that in this tournament because like the vast majority of players in this were from the big four clubs. And even like Leicester were only given like one player, that was Jamie Vardy. And it was almost like by law you had to have Jamie Vardy in.
And it wasn't as if he was exactly fucking used.
That irritated me so much as well. Like you saw in the friendly against Germany, your best strike partnership was Kane and Vardy. They won you the game, and yet you still go for Fat Rooney, who is probably not going to be in the United team next season because like Mourinho has sense, and they have Zlatan. You know, Zlatan will do many things, but play with Wayne Rooney, he will not. You know.
But just like on that, like Arsenal being one of the big clubs got Wiltshire in the team.
That's evidence to me. Yeah, that's
who played. You know, you can count the minutes on two hands. The amount of football he played this year with us.
Yeah, you can count the minutes on two hands after feeding it through a bandsaw.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. And he only played a few minutes of the tournament himself, but you know, the fact that he got on the plane ahead of the likes of Drinkwater, even as an Arsenal fan, I was sickened.
Yeah.
Because not only does it increase his chance of getting injured, but like at the same time, he doesn't deserve. Yes, he's a great player. Yes, he has worked hard to get back to his level of fitness, but there was absolutely no proof that he was able to play full 90 minutes or, you know, whatever, 90 minutes for the team. And I think as well, like, Walcott didn't have a great season this year, so he wasn't, you know, going to be in contention. But I think that could be a positive on an Arsenal side view, like that he didn't have a terrible tournament that he has to mentally recuperate from.
Yeah.
That he can hit the ball like the ground running. But the likes of Sterling, I'm going to come back. I know you say he doesn't deserve it, but he was appalling.
He was appalling, but he was
I would take half-baked Theo Walcott over Sterling any day.
I would go along with that, but like I said, it's because he was in a system where he was chronically overused. He was in a smaller role than it was the same thing that happened in the World Cup. Like Sterling was the hottest thing going back then. He had one super game against Italy, and then Roy just went, "Oh, he's here. Okay, I'll just use him for the rest of the other two games," and let him down. You know, Sterling is not the person to lead a country. He is a support character. You know, it's not like you can build a team around Raheem Sterling in the same way you can't build a team around, say, Adam Lallana or Harry Kane. Kane will score a lot of goals, but he doesn't have any inherent leadership. And for that matter, Wayne Rooney doesn't have any inherent leadership. He's just the oldest person there.
He doesn't have any hair.
No, he doesn't at all. But yeah, overall,
he's shown that he's got about all the fitness of a middle-aged bin man.
Yeah.
It's just he's shot. He's not up to it. That's why when Jose was chatting away about him, he was saying, "No, he's not going to be a midfield player under me. He's going to be a striker," because Jose knows he can't fucking run.
Yeah, which is amazing because like the whole review of the England and Russia game was so sugar-coated. It was extraordinary. Like, you had the game won. Well, you didn't have the game won, let's be fair. You had to rely on Eric Dyer for a beautiful free kick. That's the guy you want on set pieces, by the way.
Yeah.
Not Harry Kane. And then you let it slip in your hands by just literally falling apart. No marking, no tactical awareness at all. You let probably the most unfit central defender I've ever seen, Berezutski, just waltz into, literally ram it into the goal when you have far tougher people, in theory, in your defence, like Smalling and Cahill. they're supposed to be tough men. They're billed as tough men, but they were just pushed away by what is a fat Russian. You know, and for that, the whole like match report was about Wayne Rooney with a stellar performance in midfield. What I didn't see any stellar performance. He ran around like one like 5 yard section of the pitch. That's what he did. He ran up and down that. That's great.
Well, it was a stellar performance at half time when he hit that buffet table.
Well, maybe that's what they were referring to then.
Fuck yeah, man.
Yeah.
He went through those croissants like fucking... He can't even spell croissant. Fucking hell.
I know there's K in it.
And I know that it's French. And don't
Give it
like
up, Wayne.
French.
Nobody else spells Thursday with an F.
Oh, man. Oh, so the future for England, obviously not bright, but is Big Sam going to be the one to give them the reality check that they desperately need?
Well, Big Sam's going to wake them up to the reality that they're completely fucked because Big Sam is the best option that they've got and he's going to be shit.
If you look at Big Sam, right, he has an excellent reputation of having shy teams and making them survive things.
Yeah.
Which could be very, very useful for England when they go to anybody.
But as we saw from West Ham, like West Ham booed their own team because they play a Big Sam way. And in essence, he was like booted out of West Ham as a result. And I find it fascinating just the whole kind of mindset now of Big Sam has changed just because, he got the Sunderland job and he did exactly what he did at West Ham and Blackburn and Bolton and all the other teams he's managed. I'm sure I'm missing out one. And just made them survive. Made them tough fuckers to beat. That's what England are. That's what they should be.
But the thing is, England don't want to survive. They want to dominate. They want to win.
But they want to look good. You see, they want to play like lovely football when it doesn't suit them. You know, it's like you're.
I don't think they have the players to do that. They just play, it's just the players don't have. It's obvious when you look at them play. They don't have a clue what they're doing.
Yeah, it's just like clueless on a tactical level. You know.
Yeah, it's not that they have bad players. They really have some very good players. I know I'd kill to have a couple of those players playing for Ireland.
Absolutely, yeah. But of course, you still have to utilise them.
Yeah, exactly. But it's a concept of you've got the right ingredients, but you're giving it to some fucking cack-handed 58-year-old man who doesn't have a fucking breeze how to switch on the cooker and just wants to microwave everything. So you're watching an old deranged man stuff a prime rib steak and a load of raw potatoes into a fucking microwave, and he's trying to present it to you as a gourmet meal, and you're like, no man, fuck off. Like,
I love this metaphor, by the way. It's really working for Roy Hodgson. It's the best. I don't know. It's we should have warned him when he was our Liverpool manager. Somebody that classifies Carlton Cole as a world-class striker when Zlatan Ibrahimovic was on the market and signed Paul Konchesky as our first choice left back. We should have warned them beforehand. But there you go. So
it's just the thing is that Big Sam is gonna be a wake-up call. Yes, but it's gonna be a nightmare.
Do you think?
Will accepting Big Sam as manager kind of finally get England fans to realise, oh, that's the level your team is at?
Yeah. And then start from that level and build up then. Because they've been going the opposite way. They've been going, not necessarily looking at Roy Hodgson, but they're looking at even before then, Goran Eriksson and Capello, and seeing these brilliant tactical minds in charge of the best players in the league. And then they go, oh shit, we can't do anything when we go up against a team that actually knows what they're doing. You know. At least I think for Big Sam... Well, here's a question I actually posed to you. Do you think Big Sam is going to be fairer to the smaller teams in the league and give them some representation?
Oh, absolutely.
You know, because I can see, from the outset, I can see Allardyce giving caps to Defoe, who plays at Sunderland, obviously. I can see him giving caps to, maybe a Bournemouth lad. He could give it to Callum Wilson, maybe. I can see him giving a cap to Mark Noble. And
I see no Arsenal player ever getting into the England team.
Hell, he could give a cap to Aaron Cresswell, who I think is really, he could step up to be a good right back for England. Problem is, though, He's in a class where there's really good right backs in there already. You know,
Yeah,
like
that's a lot of
Klein and
positions.
Walker. But at least Allardyce will have the ability to try people out and isn't afraid to try people out as well. At least in my view, it's not going to be like Hodgson where he's going to go, oh yes, he plays for Arsenal, he must be good, or he plays for United, he must be good. You know, at least I think it's going to be a different mentality. Big Sam has to be, you have to prove to me that you're good enough to play in my team.
I mean, I was just about to say that. We were talking about England, and there was something I really wanted to bring up. It was a statistic I saw just after they crashed out against Iceland. Since they won the World Cup in 1966, they've only won 6 knockout games in every international tournament.
It's an amazing statistic, it really is. And it's so systemic. And they can't fix it. They don't know how to fix it.
Like, that is incredible.
Yeah. Any other country, like if that was Germany or Spain or Italy, they would have completely overhauled their football development
They just
system.
burnt the whole thing to the ground.
Yeah, that's what Germany did. Germany realised, hang on, we're doing fucking nothing in major tournaments. Let's completely scrap everything. And Belgium was the same way.
Yeah.
You know, and look what they have. They have golden generations. Germany are world champions. England, knocked out by Iceland.
But see, the thing is that you'd have gits like Michael Owen suggesting that the only choice for England is Glenn fucking Hoddle.
That is insulting to England. It really, truly is. Even looking at least Gareth Southgate had the maturity to realise he's not ready for the job.
He's no international experience.
No, he's not. Well, you see, he's done very well with the under-21s, but there's a difference between being a youth coach and an actual national coach. You know, because you have to deal with players that are developed rather than underdeveloped.
It's ridiculous. Hoddle hasn't had a management job since 2006.
No, he
hasn't.
hasn't.
And he resigned from Wolves.
Exactly, yeah. And he's already had a crack at the England job already, and he turned into a laughing stock like McLaren and Hodgson have.
I know, man. It's fucking crazy.
The England job is so toxic right now. No self-respecting manager who wants to continue on to progress. You know, if for instance, if Brendan Rodgers didn't take the Celtic job, I'd say he wouldn't take the England job either, even though it's perfect for him. He'd love to have. Ideally, he'd love to be a national team squad because it feeds what Brendan Rodgers is. But even he knows England is toxic. You know, in a sense, it's a poisonous job.
It's got to be one of the worst jobs in football.
Yeah, totally. Because there's so much the British press are so vulturous, if that's even a word, about how their team should be selected, who should be selecting them, and why when certain players selected when we said you should select them because we know better than you, national team's coach. But at least I think Big Sam could do it because I think Big Sam is a guy that wouldn't take any shit from anybody. You know, the best moment I can say for Big Sam is when he was criticised for his 18th century tactics by Jose Mourinho and laughed his metaphorical tits off because he knew he really pissed off Mourinho and still got a result out of it. That's the guy you want in front of your national team. You don't want some...
But also, they really need to overhaul that FA.
Oh, it does, yeah. Just everything.
We think ours is bad. Theirs isn't any much better. I mean, when in the press conference when they were deciding the new manager, or when it came to them talking about deciding a new manager, what's the chief executive is Martin Glenn?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, he said that he was no football expert.
There you go. That's it.
Twice.
Yeah.
And you sit there going well, hang on. How about getting an actual football expert in charge of a footballing association?
Seems like a no-brainer to me, right?
I know it's difficult to get your head around such a fucking left field concept.
Well, people qualify for their jobs, Neil. You're talking crazy now.
Actually, here, what's really, really good. I love this quote. I'm actually looking this up. This utterly magnificent quote, which sums up Martin Glenn. It has to be the best man or woman for the job. More likely a man.
Then why did you say it in the first place?
In fairness, there was Hope Powell, who was manager of the England team, and she has more badges than anyone else, coaching badges, than anyone else in England at the minute.
Yeah.
She was never going to get in, but she has that international experience. But I know. I would like to have seen that maybe, but it's like, are England that much down the drain that they're going to put a woman in charge?
Yeah, like you can imagine so much mutiny from the alpha males of like England just going, "Oh, I don't want a woman under my national team."
In all fairness, a woman can't do any worse than any of the men.
No, that's like I said, anyone could be better at this stage. Like,
And one of the things that I hope how she lost the England women's job, she's been in it 12 years at that point. I think it was time for some fresh blood. But one of the things that was that England went into a major tournament with all the same players, top teams. This is a few years ago before the FAWSL had really taken hold. So there's very much. It was basically Arsenal ladies, Chelsea ladies, and Everton ladies. And all those players were going off to play in the tournament. And her assistant coach said, well, why don't you bring a couple of these new girls along, that were kind of coming in and making a name for themselves. And there was kind of a big outcry when she said, no, I'm taking the old guard with me. And they didn't do great. And she resigned and she said, look, it was my fault. I chose not to bring these in. And then this new manager, Mark Sampson, has been bringing in, he just brings in new players all the time. It's a revolving door. You never know who's going to get selected for that team. And I think England men need sort of guarantee that they're not going to play. I think Wayne Rooney has a guarantee he's going to play in every match. I think, Gary Cahill, you've got certain names that are just going to be on the team sheet no matter how badly they're playing, no matter how much their form has dipped. They're going to get in because they're playing for the big teams.
yeah.
And it's wrong, but I think there needs to be a sort of look into it, like, a manager who's willing to look below the big teams and kind of get the good players out of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Like I say, you said there's a lot of parallels. What you said there about Hope was a lot of parallels with what happened with Hodgson. He was only looking at 4 or 5 clubs in the domestic league and saying.
Well, what's interesting is like this has been a mistake with an England team before.
Yeah, and they've repeated the same ones.
And it's like, the definition of insanity is to do the same thing and expect different results.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And like you said, the new lad in front of the women's, Mark Sowell, is it? Sampson, thank you. I think he's very good actually, because I've seen him. I was watching the Women's World Cup and he made a lot of very gutsy calls that would have crucified him on some occasions, but ultimately they turned out really well. As you said, having just a constant competition for position.
There's a player back in England in the World Cup. There was last year. He played a team that was playing in the. He played a player, Fran
Kirby, isn't it?
Fran Kirby, who was playing in the second division at the time.
Yeah.
And she was lighting up the second division, and but she wouldn't have gotten a look in with Hope Powell, but he brought her in, and she was like a pick of the tournament. She was scoring because she was on form.
Yeah.
She got her move to a big club, and she's been very potent ever since.
Yeah, she was. I think she was playing at Reading, wasn't she? And then she became
at Reading, and then she's gone to Chelsea.
Yeah, that's right. And the most expensive female player in history for England.
For England, yeah.
Yeah, that's what tournaments can do to players. Is if you give them the impetus to perform, they will reciprocate that. That's why you've seen even the Iceland team. That's made stars of certain players. Ragnar Sigurdsson is probably getting a knock on the door. Hallopson Canada probably has fucking 10 contracts waiting for him at home for him to sign.
Yeah.
That's what a tournament can do if you set it up for that. But if you give, what happened with England, you give people or players a sense of entitlement that they are going to go to a tournament, they're going to fall back on that and go, oh, fucking hell, I have to play for another month now. I can't go on holidays. Different mindsets. That's why I think, going back to your point, Neil, about Rashford and how he lit up the last game against Iceland. The reason for that was, his place, I guess, wasn't guaranteed. He fought for that with really good performances. Granted, it was because he was playing for United. If he was, in a other Premier League team, I don't think he would have got a sniff in. That's beside the point. At least he was given an impetus to perform because people were watching him now and he wanted to show how good he was, to see if he could be on the level of a Sturridge or a Vardy or a Kane. But players like that in the England squad ultimately didn't have anything to fight for.
Yeah.
You know, at least I think if you have somebody like someone who you have to prove your worth to, like a Big Sam or someone similar, it might not have to be a Big Sam, but someone who stamps the foot down and goes, right, dickheads, prove to me how good you are. You know, then that's how the improvement of the England team starts. That's at least in my view.
But it must continue on to actually overhauling that toxic FA, you know?
Yeah. Like, you need people in there who are footballing minds and are not chief executives by trade, because that's not working out.
Well, at the very fucking least, you don't want people who open a fucking press conference with, I'm no footballing expert.
Yeah, honesty is great and all, but not to that level. Yeah.
Although we need somebody worse.
That was the guy's thing, like, out of all the people that we could have, like given out to in this tournament, John Delaney has come out smelling like fucking roses. And he hasn't even done anything. You know, it's just
see, that's exactly the point. He hasn't done anything.
Yeah, exactly.
Normally when he goes abroad, he's like this taxpayer-funded national disgrace.
Yeah.
He's just a fucking horrible, repugnant, living Orwellian portrait of bourgeois greed. And the man, he just like Pepe, he needs to die. He just needs to die.
And then we can mark that down as rant number 3 for the evening. Nice way to cap it up.
Serious, like,
yeah.
So, I'd wish for him to be shot, but bullets cost money. I just wanted to be like something painful and awkward, like having his heart spooned out.
Like Stephen Ireland's empty stud.
Absolutely.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's gonna be that's no more so like painful and awkward, more like an ironic death as well.
Oh,
just like that kind of hint of irony to it.
I absolutely hate that man. I despise him with all of my being. Oh, just every bad thing that ever happens to that man he deserves.
Yeah, indeed. But so you know, at one point we were talking about the Euro 2016 tournament. This is what this podcast is about. We completely ripped to shreds the England team, rightly so. So I guess closing remarks, guys. Euro 2016. Review it in, I guess, 5 words. How was it? How was it for you overall?
I'm counting on my fingers. Well.
5 words. Come on.
Tournament of the underdog.
Okay. Let's see.
Oh, okay. Very good and slightly boring.
Alright. Very good and slightly boring. David Guetta can fuck off. Like,
is that your kind of motto for life, John?
A little bit, yeah.
You can't just use that for everything, man. You've got to come up with something football related.
I couldn't. That was football related. Like, he was like, hey, that fucking jingle. I will never. That's like every time, because I try to watch as much Euro football as I can, but I had to stop because his insipid fucking music kept playing every time. I was on RTE, it was on TV3, it was on fucking YouTube. It was in my dreams as I woke up thinking about European football.
Jonathan, I think you're using the Euro 2016 to take out your hatred, your vast, unbridled hatred of David Guetta out. You know, I mean,
it's a vessel, but this time I mean it.
Absolutely. I mean, come on, man. You can't even order food. Like, what do you want for dinner, Jonathan? David Guetta is still beating liver.
Oh.
I'll see what I can do.
It's going to be very hard. I don't know.
I can get you one kidney.
Yes.
I can get you one kidney. No, he can survive with one. I want the liver. You can't survive without it. I want a vital organ.
Okay, how about this one? David Guetta, unrelated to David Guetta, even though he's terrible at everything he does. Ronaldo got his coaching badges. How about that? Is that more politically correct for you, Neil?
Okay, here's another one if we're going down that route. Tournament of the Moths.
Yeah.
Tournament of the Moths. It's like this. It's
I
like
welcome our insect overlord.
I love it. It's like Tournament of the Moths is like the ill-fated sequel to King of the Flies. It's just like this has nothing to do with football.
Moths more likable than Pepe.
Who left the lights on?
Put down that lawn chair. Let's see, is there anything else I can think of? Our lads are great crack. Maybe.
Let's hope Russia can do better.
Will Greek is on fire.
Harry Kane on corners. Why?
What?
But yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah. Well, that's our Euro 2016 digest, everybody. Hope you enjoyed that. We'll be back very soon, hopefully, in the next few weeks to preview what is probably going to be a demented year in football, where television will take over everything. There'll be no such thing as competition. I'm speaking, of course, about the 2016-2017 Premier League season, which is supposed to be football, but I think it's going to be the biggest soap opera that we will ever see in our lives. So tune in for that, hopefully within the next, say we say 3 weeks, lads, I'd say, because we have about a month to go until it all kicks off again. And we'll hopefully try and make it a weekly, bi-weekly update on how we think the league is going to go. So indeed, look forward to that. But until then, we shall see you next time. Jonathan, Neil and Rachel sign off, if you please.